Hi, and welcome to Two Creations, the Asian American podcast for the Joy Luck Club meets Drunk History. I'm your host, Cindy Yip.
And I'm Nancy Lee. And today we have a special investigative report. We tackled the subject that's, you know, close to home, really close to home.
It hits very close. In fact, it's in the home. The call is coming from inside the house. But first, we should acknowledge the fact that we've been gone a long time.
Way too long,
Been a
Cindy.
long time since we recorded a podcast. In fact, we're now significantly older than when we last left off Two Creations.
I think we need to change the title like to Old Lady
Old. Old and crazy Asians.
We had a pandemic,
Yep.
post pandemic.
Mhm.
I had two babies.
Yep.
I'm in the midst of perimenopause. Like, who isn't?
Yay. I have white hairs now that I didn't have before. No, thank you. I take handfuls and handfuls of supplements. Who knows what they do? We both left our big cities, New York and San Francisco, for the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But we also, took a pause because, life gets busy, right? We all know that. But, we wanted to bring you this important podcast on dun, da, 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 hoarding. So, why do we wanna talk about hoarding and specifically Asian hoarding? It's a really important topic that I think so many Asians can relate to.
I think every Asian knows an Asian hoarder or is themselves one.
Mhm. I
Uh,
think oh, sorry.
Personally, I grew up in a semi-hoarded house, so this is, like, really personal to me, scary personal, but we'll get into that more when we talk to my sister Emily, who's on the show.
Yay!
Mm.
Um, I also spoke to a few of my friends. This is kind of where the idea came about, just talking to people that are Asian, and they also shared I go, "Are your parents hoarders? Did you grow up in a hoarding house?" And literally everyone's like, "Ah," like a release, I swear.
Yes.
Like everyone felt like, "Yes, you understand this problem I went through?"
I
So
love that because growing up, I just thought that Chinese people were dirty, but then I would go to, like, friends' houses and I'd be like, "Well, wait a minute, they're not dirty, then they're not American." Something
yeah.
about somebody was lied to.
Yeah, and, we get into a little bit more, but, like, seeing all these cookie tin cans everywhere when I would go to my Asian friend houses, and there's no cookies in those tins, guys.
No.
So, it's something that I think resonated with a lot of us.
Yeah.
Um, so getting first into it, we instead of, interviewing these people one-on-one because not everybody wants to be known of being a hoarder, Cindy and I are more than willing to share our horse
Sure.
that
We're open book. I
yeah,
love those.
yeah. So, but we have one guest. Her name is Kelly. Her name is actually not Kelly, but we're just calling her Kelly. She didn't want to be known. Anywho, I spoke to her and she told me about some crazy stories about her mom. And so that was, and that was just in conversation. I didn't even probe her to be like, did you grow up in a hoarding house? She just shared this information.
No, it's right under the surface. You don't even have to scratch.
Yeah.
It's brimming to come out.
It's like you like all of a sudden you split it and then it was like blah, like word vomits. So I'd known Kelly for a long time. I think back from 2011. So that's like more than a decade. That's crazy. And we never really talked about this. And then all of a sudden, I was talking to her about it because I was like trying to do some research on this, right, Tim?
Mm.
And being like, does your mom hoard? And then she started telling me some of these stories. I didn't even know about some of these stories that she's sharing with us. But, so this is kind of a new format. YouTube, this video format is new for us as well. So you see how this goes. I know we're putting ourselves out there,
No.
um, which made me think maybe I should have blow dried my hair or something. But this is all natural. Moms on a Monday. That's me. And so, anywho, so I asked her a couple questions, and so I wanted to share some of her responses with. I mean, when my friend Kelly was telling me her story, the way she went about it, about her mom finding treasures around New York City, like we all know we live in small spaces, but uh and we try not to be hoarders in our very small New York City apartments. So everyone puts their trash out there to go. And I think people are too busy to even like put it on a Facebook marketplace because that's what I would do. But they put their good, beautiful treasures out there. And my friend Kelly, her mom lives in Brooklyn now, and it's all for the taking.
It's like
And
the streets are paved with gold for
I
hoarders.
Pretty much. I mean, anyone can be in New York. You can see, like, I mean, I'll be honest, I even taken stuff off the corner.
Oh,
It was
I
like a
have.
couch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or like if I would DIY, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, that vintage chair from this century. I'm like, I can fix it. And then I'm like, actually, I
Oh,
have no time and I
that's
have
like
no
a camp
sheet.
hoarder thought is I can fix it.
Yep. I think I'm like a borderline hoarder, but I like catch myself sometimes.
A
I'm just like
hoarder.
hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, let's play her first snippet from Kelly.
Well, that's how my mom gets all her stuff is from walking around and there's lots of families and she's like, "This is a rich area. There's just stuff out there all the time for the taking." And I'm like, "Oh no." She's in Mecca. She's like on cloud 9. She just sees money pots on the street. Everywhere she sees it, everywhere. And she only has time on her hands. So sometimes my friends are like, "How did she find this?" I'm like, "Because she does not work and walks around and she has she has the pickings, the first pickings of the day."
Wow.
I mean, it was. She and she also like was telling me some of the things that she picks, like Pez dispensers.
Mhm.
Like who's taking Pez dispensers? She doesn't even eat Pez.
Who wants that?
I I don't understand. And so I was talking to Kelly and I was asking her, like, when she was younger, if she realized her mom was a hoarder. And she didn't really think about it. Like, I think all of us just kind of thought, at least I did too, like, this is just normal in my house.
I
But
mean,
then
what
as
you
you
grow up with, you think is normal up to a certain
a certain point, when you start going to other people's houses, right? And then you realize, like, oh, this isn't normal, right?
Mhm.
So, and she was saying her parents would fight about it often because her dad would be the one who wants to throw things away. I mean, and he's also Asian. So maybe this is just for certain personalities, right? It's not everybody. But her dad was the one who wanted to get rid of things. And her mom wanted to like fought hard about keeping things.
Oh, yeah, that's a really interesting dynamic between one who is a hoarder and one who isn't.
Mhm.
Like, maybe there should be a hoarding checkbox in dating. Like,
Oh, that's
yeah,
good.
are you a hoarder?
I think there has to be rather than just asking it straight out, there's, like, leading up questions to diagnose you if you are or are not a hoarder.
Well, I've always thought that there should be a picture of your living room or your bedroom, included in your dating profile because it tells
Ooh.
you so much about the person.
I know, but that's so scary, like,
I know.
because some people have really weird rooms.
Yeah. It doesn't make you a bad person, but it kind of does.
I mean, that's really putting yourself out there. That's like more than what was it, Christian Harmony, or what was that dating one that was like, I think you are asked like 1,000 questions. I think 10 of the same question asked a cajillion different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it was like, oh, in your radius, there's no one that matches you.
Oh, it sounds like you have personal experience in this.
Yeah, I definitely tried all of those. Um, but moving back onto hoarding, so Kelly's mom and dad actually got divorced, and so her mom ended up living with her brother, who's very similar to the dad. Always keeps everything neat, but now this is a different dynamic because it's the mom moving into the son's house, right?
Yeah.
And he was telling Kelly was telling me about what her brother was saying and like how bad it got. And
So my brother's place is newspapers. She kept lots of newspapers. There were just stacks of newspapers everywhere. I have no idea. She probably got it from some local Chinese newspaper, free, like take one. Yeah, she'd find one right by 99 Ranch, and then she'd like pick it out, and then she'd know, okay, I'm going to go back here every week to get this free newspaper. So his apartment was small, but like it got crowded very quickly. She would keep like if there was takeaway, she would keep all the containers because she says, oh, they're good like for storage. She kept lots of furniture. She had maybe like 50 pairs of shoes that she accumulated, if not more. And what I noticed that she likes every wall covered with stuff and stacked. Like like she does not, if you go to her place even now, no wall is uncovered. Okay, it's not that bad. Okay, but like it's bad. It's bad though. Now in her apartment here in Brooklyn, I've seen how this has manifested in her having grandchildren. Like she has at one point, she had 3 strollers. She would have she would I don't it's like she would pick up Pez dispensers. This is how random it got. She would pick up Pez dispensers. She would, like, take toys home, like remote control cars, but they didn't actually work. Do you know those dogs on like, that they sell on the side of the street that flip? You know, like, kind of those she got one of those, and it was filthy, filthy. I'm like, "Why would you even pick this up?" She had 2 toddler potties. This was when I had 1 kid. She had 3 baby bathtubs at one point, and I'm like, "My kids don't shower at your place. This makes no sense." And she said, "Well, I could use them to wash my clothes or whatever." She would use those yogurt plastic containers. She hoards napkins. She goes crazy with furniture, like those little Russian tea dolls. She'll store tables under a smaller table. Um, she after she divorced my dad, there's all this stuff that she wanted to keep. She had 2 freezers in the garage growing up that she keeps to this day in a storage unit in LA. Um, yes, exactly. So she's basically had these storage units for 17 years. Yeah, yeah, 17 years that she has been paying, like, I think early on $150 and or $100, and now it's like $200. I can't remember, but she has been paying that off on a monthly basis for the last 17 years. Clearly has paid more than what the stuff is worth at this point. But that's what she holds on to. Like, she looks at everything and she associates like a price tag to that thing and no purpose, even though she hasn't touched the stuff for 17 years. Like, she's so on the other extreme of like Marie Kondo. Like if it's given her joy once or for a moment, she will keep it forever.
Oh my god. So, yeah, this is like my line. My line is like over here, and then like way over there is having a storage facility for 17 years.
Yes, that
Way
you never touch
more.
this. Yes, and it totally defeats the purpose of saving money. This is where I kind of don't understand some of the hoarding tendencies. Like, I understand you don't wanna get rid of it, but you now live in New York. The freezer fridge units are in California. Like, it's not something you can just, like, pack up into FedEx and bring it over.
Wait, the storage unit is in California?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's in California, and they live in New York.
I can't.
Like, this is okay, and I'm Cindy, like, I think you need to, like, enlighten me here because sorry, I'm a little old now. This is how much we've aged. I now wear glasses. Um, I I just don't understand, like, another friend of mine was telling me about how her mother, who is single now because her father had passed away, lives in an apartment and has multiple fridges, although she's one individual, because she buys, like, Asian pears that are on sale, like, set of 10 that, like, you get the value, but it's still 10 pieces. So she bought a fridge to be able to hold more of those, like, deals you get, but then the food ends up going bad.
That's bad. Let me tell you a little story. My
Okay.
parents had a fridge full of food that had gone bad to the point where you couldn't close it anymore, thus accelerating the badness.
So.
So the fridge eventually broke, and they had to get another fridge. They put this fridge next to the bad fridge full of rotten food and filled it with rotten food.
Really?
Really?
Mm. And both of them allowed this?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
I'm sure
well,
one
who
complained, but what can you
Mm.
do?
I don't understand the logic. Do you?
There's no logic. It's anti-logic.
It's like it doesn't make sense. It serves no purpose. If anything, it is a health hazard.
Oh, yeah. My mom used to be very sick all the time. Now she's not.
I'm sure it's 'cause like, yeah, yeah, the same thing I would tell my parents all the time, like dust. They all these little things they won't throw away. There's dust that accumulates on it,
Mhm.
and it's not good. Like I have tons of these air purifiers in my house. And sometimes I'm like, "Ugh, why do we have so many of them?" And then I take out the filter and you're like, "Holy crap,
Yeah.
that is all in the air." Right?
Yeah.
Kind of scary.
Mhm.
I just don't get it. My Uncle Paul also, like, he it's like you have these spaces that you don't maintain, which I don't understand. And so he had lots of dust that, like, one time, Chris and I went to sleep over, and, Chris's eyes were, like felt like there were daggers in there because there's just so much dust particle that he like, in the middle of the night, he's like, "Is it rude if we go home right now?" Yeah. I mean, maybe because they all lived in very tough conditions, that this is nothing?
This is nothing. Yeah.
I don't know. I just
Get at least with some of the psychology of it.
yes, yes, we will. And, moving on to another person I know, her name is Sharon. Sharon and I actually work together, and, once you get to know Nancy Lee, you she starts asking you questions like, "Is your Chinese are your parents hoarders?" And Sharon is a first gen Chinese Cambodian, and she lives in Southern California. And what I found really interesting was that she has like a multi um, generation household. So she lives in a house that when her mom's generation migrated to the States, that was the house that they lived in. And so she still lives there and she's in her 20s. So, and she also lives with like other relatives as well. So I was able to ask her about a couple things, and especially because I wanted to know, like, in her family who was a hoarder, because it's like, it's not just her mom, it's
Yeah.
also like her aunt and her cousins. And yeah, it's like, because everyone kind of like lives in the house. I don't know where they're actually reside, like the bed, but like these kind of families, they live so close to each other. It's like the whole thing is like a constant, uh, feel like a cafeteria or something. You know what I mean? Everyone's coming and going. Um, but she also defines herself as a hoarder, which I found very surprising with brand new information. So, like, let's take a listen.
Do I know any hoarders? Yes, I do know hoarders, and I would like to define myself as a hoarder to a certain extent. I think I am a hoarder because I like to assess things. If it's, for example, fan, a toy fan that no longer works, it's a travel fan. But I think that if I can replace its battery, or if I can buy new kinds of batteries, or if I can donate it to a children's center, or if find any way to repurpose it in life to give it a better use. That's why I feel like I'm a hoarder. Whereas I feel like other Americans or other people will just throw it away with no thoughts and just buy a new one. Whereas I will think of ways to keep repurposing so that it could still last even though it's on its last life.
Wow.
So
She embraced
funny.
it.
Yeah, how she delineates like Americans would or anyone else would
Others.
throw this away. I had a roommate who would say, "I throw it away if it's in my way." Like if something she stumbled on it, it's gone. She would, and I think about her all the time.
Like, how dare you get in my
Get
way?
my way.
Life is over for now. So I just found it really interesting. Like it sounded like she was in like rehab or something. Like, hi, my name is, and I am a hoarder. I had no idea. I thought she would just talk about her parents and aunts and uncle generation like we do, and not be like, I'm part of it. But she sees like the logic of it, and I see it. Right? You see it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we lived with our parents, maybe we would also be living in like a layer cake of psychological baggage and hoard ourselves.
Yes. I know, but it's just interesting, like, you recently moved into a new house, right? And, like, I don't know, it's finally, like, your place and to decide what comes in and out and, like, the lifespan of it.
I don't live by myself anymore.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't get to say about everything. I now live with a child, a 9-year-old child, and you gotta make some concessions.
Oh gosh. Yes, I do live with children as well.
Mhm.
A 3 and 5-year-old almost.
Yeah.
And you're right, I'm wrong. But you can well, no, maybe you're living it a little bit, like, longer than I am, like, age-wise, like, 9?
9, it's very manageable.
Mm, yeah. No,
It's
I
not
think
like
my
total
children are
nightmare.
hoarders, actually. Oh, no, my
I
kids
think
are hoarders.
all children are hoarders. They always are, like, nostalgic about the
It
dirtiest,
yeah.
oldest thing. They're like, "I've had this since I was born." You're like, "You were literally born 4 years ago." So it's
Yeah, like, that's nothing. I know, right? Um, what's it called? But then when I talked to Sharon a little bit more, I was like, you have to give me examples. Like, give me examples of why you think you're a hoarder and so forth. So, take a listen. She goes into some of her examples.
The kind of hoarding that I've experienced as a first generation American, I believe is the most seen in the kitchen. Okay. So, for example, any Chinese American or Asian American family, when we buy takeout, the most common thing that we will receive is extra plastic utensils, either in a set or just individually. We, if we do not use those, we will rinse them or not even rinse them and place them in bags or drawers that contain other plastic utensils so that one day, if we were too lazy to do dishes or if there was a big family party, we would just use the plastic utensils so we don't have to wash for 30 people. So that's one primary example. The second primary example is instead of buying sauces. So, for example, we go to Chick-fil-A, we get a ton of sauces, ketchup, condiments, sauces that you cannot buy anywhere. And if we do not use them all, we will wash them or wipe them with alcohol and then place them in our drawers so that they are completely clean. So if we ever are in dire need of sauce and want that particular sauce, we don't throw them out because we didn't use it. They're perfectly new. We grab them from the drawer and we eat them at our pleasure. So those are two very primary examples of hoarding. In my most recent memory, I think we have collected over, I would say right now there's about 300 utensil packets in our drawers. And they're separated by the ones that are in sets and the ones that are like individual spoons, individual forks, individual chopsticks. And I know this because even when it comes to chopsticks, I organize them. I'm that type of person. I don't like the cheap ones that are sticks, but we like them because we love to make homemade popsicles, like really, really fresh cooked popsicles. So my mom likes to use those chopsticks that are circular, those like cheaper ones that don't break, to use those popsicle sticks. Whereas the ones that come in a set and you have to break them, those aren't as well uh, they can't stick well as popsicle sticks. So we separate those and I count them all the time. When she's making popsicles, we like to make at least 100 at a time. So we organize them and they're so good. Homemade popsicles are the best. Now, when it comes to condiments, I have a whole section of organization of boxes. I think right now, in terms of ketchup, I go through ketchup the most. So I've never bought ketchup in my life. Okay. And I basically have like maybe 100 or 150 right now. And then when it comes to special Chick-fil-A sauces or like McDonald's special sweet and sour sauces that can't get anywhere else, there's about 25 left right now. Store things in the kitchen and we store things if it's very excessive, we store them in the garage. But that's not that clean. So we try to just organize everything in container boxes as storage and leave them in the kitchen as organized as possible. And when I say container boxes, we like to use metal ones. You know how you buy a box of cookies or you're being bought one as a gift? Those metal container boxes. Yes, that is what we use because those, ants and bugs won't get into those. So once we get those container cookie boxes, we rinse them, make sure they're clean, they're dry for a few days, wash them up, and then put our utensils in those. So they're completely new. So yes, another version of repurposing and hoarding actually is a box.
Wow, there was a
Wow.
whole stuff in there that I really hit close to home, like sauce drawers. I grew up with a lot of sauce drawers. I grew up with chopsticks and utensils. And the idea of unwashed utensils going back in a drawer, that gives me I don't even know if we had that growing up.
Well, I mean, I think what she was saying was some were like, because there's two types. There's ones that are just out Then there's the plastic ones, like the ones that are in a plastic wrapping that is a different type, right? They're not separated. But she was telling me both because her family's mainly nurses, like they're in the healthcare business, um, that they alcohol wipe everything that comes through. Like they're hyper vigilant about cleanliness. Like even if the wrapper, it's like one of those wrapper sets that have the plastic utensils in it, they wipe down like with a sanitizer wipe the plastic part of it. Like that was a different level for me in general.
Yeah, we'll get into this more, but there is a line between the hoarding that's just cluttered and then there's the just
Mhm.
which is on
Yes.
another level. Yeah.
Yes. But it was just funny as I was talking to Sharon about this. She was like, "You're looking at me in an entirely different way." I'm like, "I just never thought like you had it's very like methodical in your brain. Like there's a process. It all makes sense. Like there's practicality to it." Correct.
And can I also
Um,
say she has a beautiful voice. Like she was describing uh, you know, cookie tins and it was sounded like a bedtime story.
That's true. She's a very nice voice. I'm very lucky to get to work with her and also for her to share her knowledge of like this. And she's also quite younger than us. She's in her 20s. Okay. So, like, I feel like I thought it skipped a generation, but in reality, there's like a segment of us that skipped. And then there's this other group that kind of is modernizing the hoarding, that it has this logic and like practicality behind it, versus just purely, right? I mean, totally different. But there's a lot of other friends, and I'm sure you too, that have shared some like not similar stories, but like stories around this hoarding. I know we're going to be talking to Cindy's sister in a little bit, but I just feel like the one of the main reasons Cindy and I want to talk about this is it's all around us, and not that we're like, this is normal. Like, we should keep doing it, but more like, don't be embarrassed about it. Or like, we all went through it kind of thing, And so when I was telling Cindy about like my multiple friends that I've met, and I'd just be like, "Are your parents hoarders?" Like, even people I don't know that are like I find out they're Chinese. Noah goes to Chinese school now, so I was talking to somebody. Of course, I was talking, what a surprise. And she told me she's Chinese and she's from North Carolina. And I was like, "Do your parents hoard?" And she's like, "Oh my God.
Oh my god.
Hallelujah. Someone understand." Because my Chinese school is made up of a bunch of Chinese American moms with their white husbands.
Yeah.
And they're mixed kids trying to get some culture.
Well, it's not what
in
people
their
think of when they think of like first generation, second generation Chinese Americans is like that they might be hoarders, but it's like a secret truth.
Yes, the secret truth. Moving on to the secret truths, Cindy.
Yeah.
We're moving on to your special guest.
My very own big sister, Emily. Let's take a listen.
My name is Emily Tadlock. I'm 50 years old, mother of two, 15 and 8. And I know Cindy, but she's my sister. Yes, I would say we dealt with a fair amount of hoarding in our childhood. Uh, Newspapers, odd newspapers, scraps of paper, um, makeup products, and just stuff that was used and expired, and yeah, pots, pans. Yeah, I think we grew up in a very, very hoarding lifestyle.
Would you say it was hard for us to have people over?
Yes. Yes. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I know this isn't supposed to be the dark side, but
There's only the dark side.
I'm trying to think of the light. Yeah, where like to make this a the funny podcast that I'm trying to make it. That's embarrassing. But I think we lived with it so long. It also became a part of us. So actually, we didn't see how probably disgusting.
Yeah. But was there anything that you can remember that made you think like, oh, this is hoarding?
I mean, I don't think did we have a word for hoarding back then?
No, I don't think so.
I think we were more. Well, I think Dad had a lot of broken computer parts
Yeah.
that never got put together.
Yeah. And that didn't make
That's
sense.
hoarding.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a yeah, things that were broken that weren't working that were still in the house. That's hoarding. But I don't think we had a name for hoarding back then.
No,
I only saw show hoarders, and then
Yeah.
oh, this looks
familiar. Yeah. This fits close to home. Why does this looks like I feel like my childhood?
yeah.
And then she goes into where she thinks hoarding comes from in our family.
Dad's dad had a gambling issue,
Right.
which led to his hoarding
Our dad.
issue. Our
Dad's dad had a
gambling issue, which led to our dad having hoarding issue.
Yeah.
The mental hoarding to dirty.
It's
Yeah.
a scarcity mindset.
Yes. It is
You're
scarcity
not
mindset.
gonna have.
I have it, but it comes out a different way.
Yeah, like what is your experience?
My scarcity mindset
Yeah.
is like as soon as I have money, I spend it. Because I feel like I'm not worthy of the money or I can't keep the money. It's a weird, it still has to do with scarcity though.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, or I spend money to make myself feel better because we didn't have a lot of money that was spent on us. So I'll spend money out of it's like a shopping addiction thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's to make myself feel better, but it doesn't really fulfill the whole. And that is a scarcity mindset still.
We have like different reactions to what happened to us.
Yeah.
Because I'm like fairly minimalist in my decorating.
Huh?
And I don't like to buy things
Yeah.
because of how much crap was around.
That's right. Yeah.
When I was growing up. And you like to buy things to try to fill that void.
But I don't keep
Of
it.
nice
I
things.
just keep it, but I just lose the money.
Yeah.
And then I get rid of it. As soon as it comes in. And
Then you have some more
then you have
scarcity.
shame and guilt,
Yeah.
right?
And the stuff doesn't make you feel good.
No. That feeling goes away really fast. Like, yeah. So there's a lot.
Wow, this has been real fun and funny.
Very very. I think maybe this is more of like a therapy.
This is becoming therapy podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she talks about why Asians in particular sometimes hoard.
And why do Asians do it because of the war? I think it's because of the refugee and immigrant mentality.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty common. It's interesting to explore the perspective of Asian Americans or what happens to the kids
In generation.
immigrant
Yeah.
that did the hoard
Yeah.
and how they react to that kind of scarcity.
Yeah. So I thought it was so interesting. Like your friend Sharon, she has her own reaction to living with hoarders or having parents as hoarders, and me and my sister had different reactions to how we grew up. So interesting. In fact, we wanted to get into the psychology of things. And I have a friend who's a therapist. She prefers to remain anonymous for professional reasons. She holds a Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology and is an associate marriage and family therapist. She works in community health. So she doesn't see private clients, but she has supported people with lived experience of hoarding disorders and has studied them on her own. She has the following important disclaimer that we have to read. So This conversation is not an advertisement for services. Furthermore, the following discussion is not a replacement for psychotherapy or any other form of mental or physical health care. It is not a therapy session, it is not professional advice, and it is not a tool for diagnosis. The information I'll cover today is solely for educational and informational purposes. Very important. We are not doctors.
Yeah.
We're not giving you any advice.
We're just sharing.
We're just sharing.
We're sharing and hoping this conversation will maybe trigger some thought for you or make you feel like you're not alone. But yeah, definitely not doctor. Not doctor.
Yeah. So we asked her what is hoarding disorder, and she said that the American Psychiatric Association has classified hoarding disorder under the umbrella category of obsessive compulsive and related disorders. The broad stroke introduction is persistent difficulty discarding or parting with possessions regardless of their actual value. We asked her what she thinks causes it, and she says, in part, what if we were to conceptualize hoarding as an understandable and effective, albeit likely maladaptive, coping mechanism? When someone experiences a traumatic event, such as immigration or a war, escaping your country, or chronic traumatic events, such as not having stuff growing up, a lot of scarcity, does not have a reliable attachment relationship in which to be comforted after that experience, i.e., your parents do not comfort you. Couldn't personal possessions stand in for that comfort? Or when a familiar and beloved person, culture, or environment is lost, couldn't personal possessions stand in for a loving connection to relationships, cultures, and or place, or even identity? So interesting. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of culture that gets lost when you immigrate.
Yep. And I can see, like, talking about it's just interesting as you read such this uh definition, like, professional response to something that we are somewhat trying to make light of, something that actually happened in our lives, and a lot happens in a lot of people's lives. You can see these threads that are so evident, right? So, like, your sister talking about, as soon as she gets the money, she shops or buys things to fill a void, right?
Mhm.
But then
People are just comforting each themselves.
and then Kelly, her mom, right?
Mhm.
She is the one who immigrated over. She's also not in her place. Like, they first lived in the Southern California area. And now she's in Brooklyn. And even though she did it in Southern California, like, she hoarded things, and maybe that was her way to create like community or like those are her community with things. You know what I mean? Like, there's some level of attachment. I mean, who knows? But it's interesting about the kind of like the way you dissect it to see what it actually means under the surface.
Yeah, there might be a lot of social setups that were prevalent in your home country that you just don't have anymore. You don't have that family, that extended family, those extended friends that you used to have. And so you kind of lean on stuff.
Yeah. Or maybe it like gives them a sense that, like, since they can't lean on anyone, they kind of only can lean on themselves. So they have their like hoarding boxes. Like, when we redid my basement in our house in Huntington Valley, um the basement was quite large. Half the basement was our playroom, and then the other half was broken to two halves. One was my dad's office, and the other half was like for my mom's stuff. And it wasn't her stuff; it was the things she bought that served no purpose for anybody. And we hope someday we interacted with somebody that eventually would be a size 2 in a dress that my mom bought from JCPenney outlet. But like, none of us are size 2. Why are you buying this? You know? Uh, but maybe it was something for her, you know? Like,
Yeah, a lot of aspirational things. Like my mom would save dishes that she wanted to give us when we were getting married, but they weren't like nice dishes. It was just something that she thought about that she wanted to have for us,
mhm.
something she can put by. So, we asked her, why might Asians, immigrants, or certain generations hoard? And she said, in my research for this episode, I found an interesting study from 2016 titled, Is the DSM-5 Hoarding Disorder Diagnosis Valid in China? These are Chinese researchers, and they noted that in a country where the storing of possessions is sanctioned and normalized, what is seen in the West as hoarding may be, in fact, be a very expected, a useful adherence to cultural norms. They write that making the best use of everything and avoiding waste are core values in Chinese culture that emerged in times of scarcity when preserving everything that may potentially be of use in the future was a reasonable strategy to enhance personal security. I mean, that totally makes sense.
Yes. I mean, it's very fancy and sounds very formal, but like, it all makes sense. They needed it. And doesn't matter if it's now or when you lose a lot of weight for a size 2 dress, but it just it's just like the time may come, and when it comes, you have it.
Right.
Sounds very similar to my mother.
That sounds very physical. We also asked her, what could people do for a loved one who might have hoarding disorder? She would say, evaluate first how the hoarding behaviors are impacting my loved one. Are they causing significant distress or damaging their relationships or posing a health hazard? You want to stay as neutral as possible in conversations because there's a lot of shame tied to anything that has to do with the obsessive compulsive disorder spectrum, of which hoarding is a part. And she also suggested that 75% of individuals with hoarding disorder have a comorbid mood or anxiety disorder, which means they could be hurting and struggling in more ways that can be seen. And to find out if they're open to talking to a qualified professional. Maybe don't even bring up the hoarding. Just say like, you seem stressed or sad or distracted or something like that. Um, and then we asked her, what if you suspect you yourself might be hoarding? How can you tell if you're hoarding and what you should do? Kind of what you would do to a loved one. You talk to, see if you're open to talking to a healthcare or therapist, a healthcare provider or therapist, and try to be gentle with yourself. Acknowledge the stigma around hoarding and how stigma contributes to shame, and just, and see how, if hoarding is impacting you, is it causing you stress? Is it causing you health problems? Is it causing you relationship problems? And then we asked her how kids of hoarders can break the generational cycle of hoarding. And the DSM-5 reports that hoarding behavior is familial, with 50% of individuals who hoard reporting having a relative who also hoards. So it's something that you get from your family. Again, she recommends reaching out to a mental health care provider and asking for support if hoarding behaviors are a concern in your loved one's day-to-day life.
Wow. Like, all of it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's
It
50-50. I
runs
mean,
it runs in the family. You have comorbid mood or anxiety disorders all wrapped up in there. Um,
mhm.
Culturally, it's like accepted as a norm to like save things. It's something that you pass down from generation to generation.
They grew up with it, right? You know?
It makes sense. Anyway,
And
a funny thing that happened was I also, because we have to do everything AI these days, I asked ChatGPT something like, why might some Asians hoard? I said some Asians. I did say Asians are
yeah.
hoarders. And ChatGPT said, You have violated our policy agreement by asking this question. So they wouldn't comment on it. But then I asked Gemini, and Gemini was like, well, let me tell you why Asians are hoarders. But like they have no qualms about it being kind of a racist conversation.
Well, but there's like, scientific backing that kind of rationalize or gives some sort of reason of where this is coming from, right? And it makes sense, and I think it's just really interesting our generation. At least, I would say, you know, our generation that we remove ourselves from the situation. Whereas, like, my friend Sharon, she's still in it, and so it's kind of, like, very interesting to see that use case, versus people that move out, right? And then, we've always talked about this podcast being, like, assimilating, like, what we grew up with in the house and then how we grew up outside our house.
Right, right. And we always try to give our parents the benefit of the doubt. How they raised us, saying, they did the best that they could.
Even though we blame them for everything.
Blame them for everything.
And I still do. I mean, blame, I guess, is a strong word. But it it's from our upbringing, regardless if it's like bad or good. A lot of good. I mean, I think good came out for people.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, we know our parents aren't perfect, and so there's one thing I was talking to Kelly, and she even you can hear her talk about her mom about, oh my gosh, the street is lined with gold because it's all the stuff she can take for the taking. Um, but she kind of put it in a really nice way of kind of being kind to your parents, and I wanted to play that for you.
And then at some point, I had to make peace with it. And I just had to let her live her life the way she wants to live it. You know? Like, who am I to tell her what to do?
Yeah. And that's where it's tough because you don't want to see anyone suffering, but if they're happy, let them be who they want to be.
Yeah. And I thought that was really sweet, kind of like a sentiment, Who are we to tell our parents or anybody to like live a certain way? Like we always say, like, our parents went through so much. They came to this country not to be like, oh my God, but they did come to this country not knowing anybody really and figuring it out. And so I thought, and when we were talking, just like, yeah, like this is again another aha moment. Like our parents are just people,
Yeah.
right?
Who like to save stuff.
Yes. And I saved money. Like, don't get me wrong. I saved lots of money because of how I was brought up.
Oh, big time.
Like,
We didn't explore the facet of it that's just frugality.
correct.
And
And frugality,
like take pleasure in doing things like drying our own laundry, which is a totally Asian thing. This will save money.
or I mean, right now with utility bills being crazy, I like try to run everything at night.
Yeah.
Do my wash at night. Like, I also have an electric car, so I'm very like aware of the 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. Price drop in electricity. I'm sure my kids will be like, "Mom, can't you just wash clothes during the day, Monday through Friday?" And I'm like, "No."
They'll be like, I'm traumatized. My mom made me wash my clothes at night. And you're like, oh, I'll show you trauma.
I'll do one up on you. Um, but do you have any final thoughts, Miss Cindy?
That's it. We hope you learned something about Asian hoarding today. I sure did. We learned about commonalities we had with all these people, such as piles of newspaper, the kitchen being the source, cookie tins with your sewing kit inside, and etc.
Well, I was really happy to have this time with you again, Cindy. It's been a long, long time. And I think and it's a different perspective in our lives. Cindy now has a household of people that she lives with. And I have had a household with people I live with, and they deal with my craziness every day. So please like, comment, and subscribe on our new YouTube channel at Creations and Instagram and Facebook as well. Until next time,
Bye bye, love.
bye bye.